From the US
to Kenya,
to women,
two continents, one
powerful
powerful
conversation. A show where we bridge worlds,
build sisterhood, and share stories that prove
we're more alike than we are different.
You're watching from Atlanta to Nairobi.
Of a new beginning.
Many mothers or you can share your experience, first start to realize that they're losing themselves or they are not really connected to themselves in the same way.
Today on From Atlanta to Nairobi.
This, I think, is the plight of many mothers. You know, you pour into your family, you give,
Yes.
give, and then next thing you know, you look up and it's like, wait, who am I? And
Who
so,
am I? Yeah.
mhm. And so we really just tracked her transformation of being able to come back to her. So when did you, or maybe this is a general question, when do many mothers or you can share your experience, first start to realize that they're losing themselves or they are not really connected to themselves in the same way anymore?
Well, I think it's different depending on what season you are in as a woman. Because I would say when I was younger, it was different than now. I think now when I got my son, the series, uh, the first couple of months I think were the hardest because I felt like it was all up to me, you know, and I had to be solid enough for myself and solid enough to have enough to pour into myself
Mm.
and to take care of the infant, you know. And definitely it was tough. Of course, notwithstanding that I was not in my home environment, so I didn't really know how to do it by myself fully. And I was also asking myself, when did this become normal? You know?
Mm.
And I remember uh, when I came and some friends were asking Papa Jasiri that everyone does it by themselves. And he said, but why do you feel like that's normal? You
Mm.
know? And I get it. I get there's a level of autonomy that you need when you're bringing up children. But if anyone has spent an entire day alone with a baby, they know what I'm talking about.
Mm.
This, if even leaving the baby by themselves for 10 minutes is hard, you know.
Mhm.
So you have to shower, you're trying to cook, you're trying to take care of your mental health, you're trying to have a social life, you're trying to make money. You
Yeah.
know, it's a bit crazy. Yeah.
And I think you mentioned something really important there about taking care of your mental health and maybe, not saying our mom specifically, but, for some people growing up,
Yeah.
their mental health did take a backseat and it may have impacted, the child more than they, or maybe they grew up and realized, oh man, I'm dealing with some things because maybe my caregivers or the people around me didn't get the support that they needed.
Yeah.
How important is it to take care of your mental health as you are caregiving? I saw this post was like, I'm trying to take care as I'm caretaking. So tell me about how important it's been for you to maintain your mental health during this time.
Wow. Lisa, that's mad business. Like it's crazy. It's like you have to be so deliberate. Yeah, you have to be so deliberate in such a way that you ensure that your life is actually making sense for you, right?
Mm.
And then let's not even get into mom guilt, where it's like as a mother, somehow you need to know why the baby is crying. You need to, you need to know. All
Yeah.
mothers know you need to know. And it's just it's a very weird space to be in, because if you're only taking care of yourself, you can say, you know what, if people are not willing to go this journey with me, I'm going to figure out how to do it alone. But if and when you need people, you definitely you can imagine having a small baby and you're asking for help and there's no one there to help you. So those dynamics are hard. And I think number one, as a mom, you have to give yourself a lot of grace. You have to give yourself a lot of love. You have to give yourself a lot of compassion. You have to let go of anything that is not holding you up, nourishing you, any dead weight. You have to just be like, I'm not going to do this. So you have to figure out a way to have a perfect, not a perfect, but a good balance in regards to taking care of yourself, like having boundaries, but at the same time loving on yourself. It's a very interesting balance, but you have to be able to do it. Yeah.
Several things there that really resonated. The mommy guilt, giving yourself grace. Also, you literally just ushered life into the world. So, there's the physical implications of that, the mental, dealing with postpartum. There's some people who may be dealing with, you know, the brain fog or just maybe anxiety even. It's like, oh my goodness, all of a sudden I'm responsible for this human's health, well-being, and all of the things. And so maybe they're dealing with that. And then also, some people, maybe they had a birthing experience where they're healing physically, and may not be able to, or maybe they had to adjust to do some of the things that they used to do, or just to give their physical bodies some time to heal. With mommy guilt, what advice would you give a mom who's dealing with that? Maybe she went on a vacation and somebody posted on Facebook and didn't even think about it and said, oh, you need to be at home taking care of that baby. Or maybe she, went and got herself some Mexican food or something at a restaurant and somebody has something to say. What advice would you give a mom who may be dealing with mommy guilt today?
There's no error in loving yourself. In fact, like, that's the real flex. Someone gave an example when we were having the event and said, I think I told you about this, that they were taught when they were in preschool a song that says, Jesus first, others in between, yourself last. And for me, it was like, when she said it, she was like, she's had to do a lot of work on herself to unlearn that and to realize that it's actually okay to really love on yourself. Because how are you going to teach your kids to love themselves if you don't love yourself? So I feel like what I would say is love on yourself, find your people, find your tribe, find your community. If you want to share it on socials, go ahead. Just find your people, because anyone who's trying to put mom guilt on you is not really the person you should be spending a lot of your time with. You have to guard your energy, you have to guard your soul. Yeah.
Wow. And when you mentioned that quote from the person you were speaking with, we had a chance to talk about that. And I believe it's, for those who for those who follow scripture, it's, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And to me, that means you must love yourself. And so it's not, I believe that prioritization doesn't have to be selfishness. Prioritization doesn't have to be where you say, forget everybody else. It's all about me. It doesn't have to be that way, and it's important to take care of yourself. And I think of some of the loved ones in my life, some who have gone on, and I just wonder, maybe, just maybe, if they had been able to pour into themselves or take care of themselves or take care of their health in a different way, maybe they would have had a little longer time with us. And who knows, I know there's questions that sometimes you can't find the answer to, but I just kind of wonder sometimes like that. And if we're not able to take care of ourselves, and if we're not able to show up for ourselves, it's going to be hard for us to show up for anybody else in our lives.
True.
Yeah. So tell me about your journey to all this. And I know we only have 9 minutes left, so I don't know if we have enough time. We may just have to do the Cliffs Notes, and we'll have to have a part 2, I guess. But tell me about your journey to get to where you are today.
Which part? Talking about the music, the mothering.
Yeah, the mothering, or whatever is on your heart. Or you know what? Here's the thing. We talked about boundaries. Woo, I think, again, similarities in both of our culture. For sometimes setting boundaries feels like disrespect, or it feels like you're being mean. Tell me about your journey to get to setting firm boundaries. I call it the B word, boundaries. How did you get to where you are today with that?
Oh, girl, we need like 7 hours for that.
I was like, a teacup and some snacks.
It's been rough. The first time I tried to set some boundaries, it was so, what's the word? It was so, I was attacked for it, and because I felt like the person I was trying to talk about this to felt like, they didn't need anything to tell them how to operate with me. They felt like they had certain rights in my life and things like that. And from that time, like, I've realized boundaries, it's a whole vocabulary, it's something we're learning from the ground up, because you will have different kinds of boundaries with your colleagues, with your friends, with your childhood friends, with your family, with your siblings, with your children, they're all different, but you have to learn your inner, like, about your inner self, so that you're able to know what goes well for you and what doesn't. If someone likes to gossip and you like to take nature walks, then you have to pull the plug on a certain area of that friendship, so that you are able to go for your walk and they need to find someone else to gossip with. So it's like, it's a constant trading. And the more you work on yourself internally, the more you realize what kind of boundaries you need with who, even with yourself, like, if you're gonna, like, for me, I started something and I posted it on the group. Actually, I'd like you to go in and post something there. So I posted in about, I started a weekly schedule, and I started it last week. And my weekly schedule, I've always had a weekly schedule, but this one is particularly unique because I've added in play, right? I've deliberately did some play. So I have days where I go for dance. So I've not danced for a long time. The last time I danced, I was probably in the US. It was probably in your class.
Gosh, it's been so long. That's like pre-baby.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
No, it was immediately, like, maybe 3 months. There's a day I went for a dance, but I don't think even you were the one conducting it, but it's been a while. So when I went for the dance, it was so interesting. Like, I felt like it was a dance class. So they're teaching us how to move and all these things. And, I left there and I felt lighter, and I did this on Monday, just 2 days ago. So I was like, for me, that's something I've achieved this week that I'm so proud of myself.
Yes. Let me celebrate you.
Thank you. So the more you learn about yourself, then the more you honor yourself, and then the more you know where even to put in your personal boundaries. You can't be saying, oh, I'm going to be taking a walk, and you've not done it for a month, so you're dishonoring yourself, so
Mm.
it's a very interesting space we're at the moment.
Wow, that is huge. That is huge. And, I think it's those little things that are not so little that bring us
Mm,
back to ourselves. And so
absolutely.
I think it's so necessary and really beautiful. So yay, I'd love to hear about that. And also, as we begin to wrap up, you referenced your group. And so just so, how people can get involved, just feel free just to give me a little bit of information about that as we close out.
Thank you. So I started a group therapy on WhatsApp. And so we have group therapy sessions every Thursday. And we've done 2 Thursdays so far, but it's doing really well. We have almost 40 people on the group, so I'm pretty excited about that. And so we are looking for more people to come join in. It's a very respectful space, and it's a space where people feel safe to just come and speak and share. And I'm grateful that the universe has been very generous to me. I've had a lot of exposure with people. I've traveled. I've met people like you. I've done a coaching class. I've done psychology. So I'm really, and plus my whole life is a whole movie, a whole 5D movie. So I'm really excited that we've been able to start this space. And it's a space that I'm starting just different kind of habits to make people share. And even for you, like, I know a lot of this conversation today has been on me, but I'd want just now, this is me asking you if you can share one thing that you've done this week that you feel like you're proud of yourself. One thing, whatever it is.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I think, and I just posted a video, so you can go to the Say Life Coach on Instagram or TikTok and check it out. It was really cute for me to put on that lemonade stand for my godchild. That was very like special. Yeah, so I'm proud of myself for doing that. And we went around, yeah, I went around and gave out flyers, and in doing so, I got to meet some neighbors that I hadn't met. I met an 85-year-old gentleman who is a musician, and so he was like, "Let me show you my musical instruments." And so he like put on a concert, and you just kind of bringing people together. And you told me this, and it stayed with me. You said you have a gift of bringing people together and connecting them, and it's just me just sometimes when you have something somebody recognizes a gift, it's like, girl, I'm just having fun or doing what I like or doing whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really what it felt like. And we were able to bring people around something like lemonade, but really, the big dreams of a little girl. And I thought of when I was little, and I was like, you know what? Oh, I always I want to build a tree house. I want to
When
have a
was when
lemonade
was this?
stand. Hmm?
When was this?
Sunday.
On Monday?
Yep. We did
On
this on
Sunday.
which is very fitting because it was actually here in this side of the hemisphere was the last day of summer. So that was it was just really cute and fun. And we just, me and my friend girl cut up and just had a great time. And she I'm an entrepreneur now, but it just really seemed to get that spark going in her.
Yes.
And so, and she's had the idea for a long time. So it encouraged me, encouraging her. When you have an idea, you can take the steps needed. You can trust God. You can just release and just know that, some of those things are coming your way. So yeah, it was much bigger than lemonade, but that's the thing I'm proud of this week. So thank you for asking.
I love it.
Well, I think that is a fabulous way to end our first conversation. But now, I didn't even get to half of the questions that we had, that we were going to get to. So I feel like we're just going to have a part 2 or a continuation of this.
Yes, we have. And I think some of the ideas, I think I'm going to just think about it a little bit. But one of the things is just Kenya meets Atlanta. Let's start there. And then now maybe coin something around that, because as you said, we are more similar than we are different. So I'm excited, and I'm always excited to do stuff with you, Elyssa. Always.
Yes. Well, I am giving you a virtual hug right now. So, and thank you.
I think it.
Over here. Oh, and really quick, can you do like a hand heart? Well, thank you so much, Coach. And
Thank you.
we will connect offline.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of a new beginning.